Has Luka Doncic done enough to cement his place as the MVP for the 2024 season? That's what I want to talk about in today's video. Because for the entirety of his very short yet exciting career, Luka Doncic has essentially came up in the top 10 for MVP voting year after year after year. However, the reason I think 2024 is a bit different is for a few circumstances. You've got Joel Embiid, who would most likely be the frontrunner for MVP this season had he not gone down with an injury and fell short of the requirements. And speaking of requirements, the NBA has just implemented a new rule which states you can't win any awards, make any special teams if you did not play 65 games. And you can argue whether you think that rule is fair or not, but especially for an award like an MVP, I do believe you have to have played at least 65 games to even qualify. So with new stipulations like those, Luka Doncic has the best chance to win MVP that he's ever had throughout his career. And it probably helps that his team sits near the top of one of the most loaded Western conferences in NBA history. As it stands and will probably currently hold, the Mavericks are looking to be the 5th seed in the Western Conference and take on the Los Angeles Clippers in a 7-game series in the first round. An opponent that Luka Doncic is very familiar with. You see, throughout his career, Luka Doncic and the Mavericks have made the playoffs about 3 times. And in 2 of those runs, they were ended by the Los Angeles Clippers in the first round. So not only is he familiar with this Clippers team, but they also seem to match up in the first round every time. And in the one chance that Luka Doncic had at the playoffs where he didn't have to play against the Clippers, he was able to make a run all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where he would eventually get knocked out by Golden State and Stephen Curry. But who hasn't over this past decade? Now, as much as I'd like to discuss the Mavericks' chances in this year's playoffs, we'll push that to the side for now and get back to it later, as I really want to maintain the focus on Luka Doncic and his run at the MVP this year, because it is more realistic than ever. And that's probably because he's playing at an entirely new level. A level I didn't believe he was going to reach so darn quickly. Again, this kid is only 25 years old. This is only his 6th season in the NBA, and he's putting up nearly 34 points per game. He's shooting almost 49% from the field, 38% from the three-point line. He's becoming unstoppable on the offensive end of the court. And scoring isn't the only thing that Luka Doncic can do. I mean, yes, he's incredible at it, but we'd be doing a disservice to Luka's case at the MVP if we didn't go over the fact that he's nearly averaging a triple-double on the season. Something that almost no NBA player has been able to accomplish, besides, Russell Westbrook about 20 times at this point. But like I said, he's nearly averaging a triple-double on the season, as he has 9.8 assists per game and 9.2 rebounds. Could he get his assist numbers up to 10? Maybe it's cutting it close. I don't think there's enough games in the year left, and there's especially not enough for his rebounds. But to average 34, 9, and 9, yeah, that's more than any team could ask from their superstar, and that is what Luka Doncic is providing for the Mavs. And it also helps that this man has 1.4 steals per game and about 0.6 blocks. He doesn't have to do all that, but he does. He's also a pretty good defender. Not the best, okay? But when it matters, Luka Doncic can step up as a defender for this team. This season will mark the 5th time in a row Luka Doncic has finished on the All-NBA first team. What does that mean? That throughout the entirety of the NBA, Luka Doncic is considered the best at his position. So his chances at winning an MVP have been developing for nearly half a decade at this point. It's coming sooner rather than later. Even if it doesn't happen this season, I can guarantee you he's going to win an MVP in the next 3. It is almost certain. Now, who's Luka Doncic's competition for the MVP this year? Well, I'd argue it's more of a 2-man race, but some could say it's a 3-man race. And the biggest competitor that Luka Doncic has at the MVP has to be Nikola Jokic. The guy up in Denver from Serbia who's already won 2 of them. The guy who can just chuck up a shot and it'll go in, especially if he plays the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, that guy. he is Luka Doncic's biggest competition. And it's probably because he's led the Nuggets to the very top of the Western Conference. You know, the Western Conference that I said was so stacked from earlier. Yeah, well, he has taken the Nuggets higher than Luka was able to take the Mavs this year. And, you know, not only does that kind of hurt Lukas' chances, but also the fact that, you know, Jokic has gone out and averaged 26 points per game. He's got about 12.4 rebounds and 9 assists. Yeah, that also is a reason why he's contending for the MVP this year. And it doesn't stop there, because this man is shooting 58% from the field. From the three-point line, it's 35%, which is pretty high for a big man, especially someone of Jokic's size and athleticism. And then from the free throw line, about 82%. And it's not only those, you know, normal stats that he's really good at, because you've also got steals and blocks. He averages almost 1 block per game and 1.3 steals, and he barely turns the ball over, only about 3 turnovers per game. And when you handle the ball as much as Jokic has to on the Nuggets, 3 turnovers per game, it's not that bad. It's honestly not. I'd expect more from the big man just because, you know, he has the ball so much, but he doesn't slip up, okay? And that's what a potential 3-time MVP looks like. And then, of course, you've got the third guy in the running. Now, this mystery man I'm referring to is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, you know, for most of the season was considered a potential MVP, maybe even a front runner at some point. But unlike Jokic and Doncic, who have played amazing throughout the season and have only gotten better, you know, Shai has kind of mellowed out towards the end, and his play, maybe the last month or two, have been why some don't consider him as, you know, a true MVP, as the favorite to win the MVP, I should say, because he has had a fantastic career, and I don't want to take anything away from that. A fantastic season. I mean, 30 points per game. He's gone out and got 6 assists, 5 rebounds. He's shooting 53% from the field, from the three-point line about 37%, and from the free throw line 87%. And that's not all he does. He's also got, you know, a couple steals throughout the season. His blocks are kind of high, especially for a guard like Shai. So yes, are his numbers not as pretty as the other guys? Maybe. But also, the Thunder are probably one of the best teams in the NBA and may just finish along the top of the Western Conference. Who knows how the rest of the season shakes out. But Shai's numbers aren't as high as the other guys, and that's just because his team is better. He's got better teammates than them. Who does Jokic have? Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., you know, Jamal Murray? Is that really better than the core that OKC is developing out there, you know, in the middle of nowhere? No, it's not. I mean, right now it could be. But in 2 years, you know, that core is going to reach all new levels, and Shai will be the leader of them. Now, like Luka, I do think Shai is destined to win an MVP eventually. However, it just isn't his turn. I believe it is Luka Doncic's turn to win the MVP, and I wouldn't be mad if Jokic went out and won it either, because something I hate in the NBA is voter fatigue. When, you know, voters who vote for these kind of awards get tired of giving it to the same guy over and over again. Like I said, LeBron James should have won more MVPs than he did, but whatever, you know, that's not the point. Luka Doncic, if he goes out and he wins it, oh my god, he will be looked at as one of, if not the best player in the world, possibly. And I think what helps his case would be, not his MVP case, but, you know, best player, would be his run in the playoffs. And with a co-star like Kyrie Irving, I think he can get it done. Now, his biggest challenge will be getting past the Clippers in the first round, something he hasn't been able to do. And while this Mavericks team is stronger than ever, so are the Clippers, because since he's played them last, they've added stars left and right. I mean, you've got, you know, James Harden on the team now, someone who wasn't there before. You've got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, another new face to this team. You know, the role players have been playing outstanding. A Norman Powell, absolute shooter. So these are all guys that Luka Doncic is going to have to go up against. He's going up against a super team, or what would be considered a super team in maybe 2018, right? But anyway, these old heads can still hoop no matter their age. And I think Luka is going to be put to the test, thrown to the wolves. Will he get the job done? I hope so, you know, because if Luka can make a deep playoff run and win MVP, he will be looked at completely differently. But anyway, that's about it for this video. Really just wanted to talk about Luka Doncic and his chances at the MVP, because they feel more possible day by day, game by game. Alright, like I said, that's about it. Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.